Hey, everybody, we are back. Now we've traveled from North Carolina to Canada, and we are here with Rachael Clarke. She is the author of The Big Old Bike. This is a middle grade that I love, 5-star love, in libraries, requested at your library, and where books are sold. But you also have a new book released this week, and it's part 2 of your series about writing prompts. Rachael, congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you.
So, Rachael is here today to share her message. Oh, look, my kids love that book too. Nick's in the audience and he has a copy of The Big Old Bike, and he said his kids love it, Rachael.
Excellent.
So we are so thankful to have all of our people popping in now and saying hello. If you have questions or comments, just continue to throw them in the chat. We'll visit that later. And Rachael, I'm going to drop off. I'm going to let you introduce yourself, and I'm out.
All right. Hello, everybody. I am Rachael Clarke. I'm an author, illustrator living in Portage la Prairie, Manitoba, Canada. I write and illustrate children's chapter books for ages 7 to 10. And I also am working on lots of multi-genre short fiction under a pseudonym I use, R.A. Clarke. And I also am working on my first novels, a sci-fi and a fantasy novel, kind of both are in the works. And I just do a little bit of a lot of things, including the prompt books, which I'm just released the second of my series on August 10th, actually, which is very exciting. And I'll show you what the book looks like at the end of my presentation. And a little bit more about me. I have 2 kids, 2 dogs, and I just got to put in a new puppy, and just kind of trying to minimize the busyness. So let's jump into this. So I'm an ideaaholic. I love coming up with ideas and brainstorming, and that's the big thing I do all the time, and I can't possibly write them all. So that's why I do my prompt books, and I thought it'd be cool to talk about idea generation today. So let me just figure out how to share my screen here. All right. Let's see, I've never used this before.
So, sharing screens, when you go down to the bottom, you'll see that plus button, and you'll hit share. And I always just hit share entire screen. You'll hit allow, and it'll pop up down in our studio, and I'll just click it, and it'll pop right back in.
Share. Here we go.
Yep, there we go.
Then I can change to my own. There we go.
There we go.
And are we running? All right.
We're running, and I'm moving back out again.
All right. Thanks, Jen. Okay, so idea generation. I love ideas. The best books come from the best ideas, right? So, it's really important to just get your thinking cap on and just get out there and think of all the wild and crazy things, be fresh and exciting, do the best we can with it. So what is idea generation in writing? It is the process of creating a list of ideas pertaining to plot or character. So now, as I'm talking about this, I'm going through all of this. This is just the process that I tend to follow. Everyone has their own processes and can bring their own ideas to the table. Absolutely. So this is definitely not the surefire solid bet. You don't have to do this, but this is just kind of what works for me. So it's worth sharing with everybody. Maybe some nuggets of things might work for you too. The process works the same during all phases of writing, whether you're generating ideas for the beginning, middle, or end of a story. And that's very true, because you can do idea generation at any point when you're writing. It doesn't have to be just at the beginning. If you hit roadblocks, or if there's anything that you're just not sure about, you just start generating a new idea list and just run with it. So it's useful at all stages. This typically involves generating a large number of ideas, then narrowing them down to the ones that you're most excited about, aka screening them. We'll talk a bit more about the building blocks of idea generation. So this is kind of my step-by-step that I follow for myself. So 1, inspiration and information gathering. That's kind of self-explanatory. Creativity and imagination. So that's your basic concept creation. I call them story seeds. We'll talk about that. Idea screening, filtering your list. Concept expansion, so you're further brainstorming. Abstraction, which means you're stepping outside of that box, if you want to for your story. Problem solving, so you're fine-tuning the details. And then finally, you jump into your outlining right before you want to start actually writing your novel or short story or project, whatever you're working on. This is a fun one. I thought I'd pop in. A wise man once said, imagination is more important than knowledge. Knowledge is limited. Imagination encircles the world. And I love this because imagination never stops. It's everywhere. Everyone has it in varying degrees. And I just love this quote. So I wanted to share that with you guys. But let's jump into number 1, inspiration and information gathering. Inspiration is everywhere. You only have to open your eyes to see it. Pay attention at all times, absorb every experience, become a watcher. That's key. Become a watcher. Watch everything. Pay attention to everything because the smallest little thing can be an inspiration for you. It can create a little nugget of thought in your mind. It's just amazing. I've had those moments like that where like my kids draw something on the board or write something in magnets and I take pictures of it or I write it down because I'm like, that would make a great world, a planet name or like a city name or, things like that. Or we were driving the other day and I saw a license plate and I'm like, oh, that's a great evil villain character name. So you just never know when you're going to see stuff. So always keep your eyes open. Write it down. So keep a notebook handy or use a notes app on your phone. Or if you're like me, nudge your husband and be like, write that down. I don't have my phone with me. Find a way to have something with you at all times that you can jot your ideas down. Take pictures, as I already mentioned. If you're artistic, you can even draw or paint whatever you've dreamed up. Where inspiration comes from. Now, I don't have to go through all of these. I think everyone has a good idea that it's everywhere. So with people, the world around us, insects, animals, places, objects, when you travel, going on adventures, different experiences and your achievements and tragedies and loss. And very importantly, in reading and writing, we as writers gain tons of inspiration from other authors and reading other work. Music and movies. Yeah, it's everywhere. Number 2. So moving on to creativity and imagination. Now it's time to take your inspirations and generate an initial list of basic concepts, or what I like to call story seeds. So they can involve characters, places, creatures, or unique situations, or anything else. These are meant to be quick and simple. So it does not involve intensive character development, backstory, or subplots. Right now, we're just sparking that very initial concept. So, like, I look at them story seeds as being snippets of big ideas, the beginning of something much larger. So, like, as an example, like this is the basis of how I create my story prompts, my writing prompts for my books. This is exactly what I'm doing. Every prompt that's in my books is pretty much a story seed. So, like, take an example: kids riding on a bike, which is the story seed I use to generate the Big Old Bike, my children's chapter book. I use the story seed: small kid on a big bike gets teased a lot. That was my story seed. But you could also have the bike races ending in calamity, or the bike itself is magical. The kid riding it's a prince and he's hiding, or the kid has a rare disease that nobody knows about yet, or maybe the kid's not even human at all. Maybe it's not even on Earth. Sometimes you can have a eureka moment where a fully formed plot strikes and you go right to expansion or outlining, which are the next steps. And that's okay. And if not, that's okay too, because you just want to document any seeds that you think up and keep them for planting in the future. And very, very important, never discard anything. Jot down every idea to ponder further, even if you think it's nothing, because you never know when that little nothing might become a huge something. When generating story seeds, you want to look at things from new perspectives. What might they see? You could maybe animate seemingly harmless or mundane objects. Change genres. How does that affect your character or setting? Switch time frames. When in history could this take place? Because that will make a difference. Increase or decrease the character's age. Consider the character's motivation. If your mind jumps to the expansion phase early, which mine sometimes tends to do, just roll with it. Just keep moving. Don't stop the progress. Just roll with it. Let the ideas flow. And that kind of moves into more ways that we can generate more seeds and ideas. So free writing is a great way of letting those words flow. You want to write quickly without editing, let the words flow freely and allow your mind to wander, let the character or setting speak to you, be as wild and crazy as you like, and definitely don't censor yourself or discount anything as useless or silly, because you might end up eliminating a valuable connection that could have led you to that big idea that you love. And you can also do timed writing sessions, which a lot of people do. You can also enter writing contests. I do this often. I love prompted writing contests because they give you all kinds of different settings, genres, subjects. They kind of push you. They motivate you to create your work, finish your work, and then push you out of your comfort zone and to try new things that you might never have done before. And sometimes that can just create amazing results, and you can surprise yourself, and you could hit on something that you'll all of a sudden, I love this and I'm going to keep doing this. So it's fun to do that. Also, reading writing prompts. Not everybody does this, but I think it's valuable for all writers to just check out writing prompts, because you never know when that idea is going to spark. The written artistic image, photo or an art piece, they'll involve the character, subject, setting, genre, just kind of all different types of things that you could include in a different writing prompt, which is pretty much, you're looking at a story seed. So, and you can twist it and make it your own, right? Find your happy place. Now, that's not exactly ways to generate seeds, but it's like the facilitation of generating seeds. You want to find your cozy, quiet spot where your ideas flow the best. So for me, it's while I'm driving or sitting on my deck, or oddly enough in the shower, although I hear that from a lot of people. Coffee shops, whatever. So find your happy place, and that's definitely go there when you're wanting to develop these lists. Next, we're on to idea screening. So you're going to sift through your list at this point and choose what you're most excited about. Now, it takes a lot of mental energy if you were to go through your entire list, because you might generate pages of stuff. If you're going to go through all of those and create more in-depth concept work with every single one, that would take forever. And I mean, hey, if you've got the time, go for it. But I think it's a good idea to kind of go through and sift through and find the ones that you're most passionate about. And you'll know, I think, God will give you an idea which stories speak to you the most. He'll kind of like give you a little nudge and be like, no, these are the ideas you got to hammer on. So which ones do you feel support a satisfying main story arc? These are things to consider when you're screening. Which ones will best highlight your style or voice as an author? You may not want to write a sci-fi. You're more wanting to write like a woman's lit. So you would be sifting through those ideas if you're wanting to stick with a specific style or voice. Keep your word count in mind also. Some ideas may be too big or too small, and I encounter that a lot because I tend to generate these ginormous ideas when I'm wanting to write a short story, and that's a problem. It's a problem I'm dealing with. Once you've narrowed it down to your favorites, then move on to expansion. And that's our next phase here. So concept expansion, as you can see with my little image there, it's when you're planting your story seeds and watering them and letting them grow. Go deeper with your brainstorming at this stage. So you're going to start world building, expanding your ideas beyond the basic. Who or what else exists besides your main character in the chosen setting? Why are things the way they are? Think about history and backstory. What conflict might arise? What drives your character? What do they need to overcome or achieve, and why? Are they a hero? Are they a villain? Who are the secondary characters involved? To kind of go along with an expansion, it works with abstraction. So they work in tandem together. So this step involves thinking about or expressing concepts that differ from our known reality. So to imagine people, events, items, places, creatures, experiences that don't physically exist. So in speculative fiction, this is huge. We often use it when writing speculative fiction because you're taking something out of reality, something beyond reality, something not in the norm. So that's common, and you're going to use that all while you're expanding and start thinking about how you can abstract your idea. Use more selectively in historical fiction. There could be some elements of abstraction there, and obviously nonfiction, it's going to be very minimal or nothing. If you wish to stray from the concrete world, you want to abstract your seeds, create things that never existed before you dream them up. And isn't that what we all want to do as authors? We want to create that original, something just that no one else has ever created or read or seen before, right? We want to find those new spins and fresh takes and strive for originality. So that's the joy of when you're expanding and you're abstracting, you can hit on that amazing idea. That's just, that people are going to love because they've never seen it before. Next, we're moving into problem solving. We all hit roadblocks now and then, and it can be frustrating, especially when you have this amazing idea that you want to write, but a certain piece of the puzzle just isn't adding up. Pardon me. A little bit of water there. So there's things you can do. Obviously, you can just keep thinking and thinking and thinking and trying to work it all out for yourself, but you can also bounce your concepts off of a friend or a family member, someone that supports your writing and engages with you on those things. You can utilize trusted beta readers. That's huge. Always try and find a great critique group and a beta reading group because they're invaluable. They can tell you so much, and it's honest feedback and criticism. And if you find a great beta reader that does that from a kind-hearted place, then that's worth its weight in gold. Reach out to chat with a subject matter expert in your local area. That's also an option. If they're in your area, take a step back and give yourself some time to think on it. As I said, you can take all the time you want. Most of the time, the answers actually will come to you. That's happened to me before, where I've kind of just backed off. I've been tired of doing something, and I'm just hit a roadblock, and I just back off for like a month, even 2, 3, whatever. And all of a sudden, just your brain, you're washing dishes one day, and you notice you're thinking about your novel, and you're working out a connection that you're like, oh, I got it, I figured it out. So sometimes all you need is time. And of course, Google is your best friend, always. On to outlining. Now, everyone probably has an idea about how to outline or what they like to do when they're outlining. Now that you've created your story seeds, you've screened them, you've expanded and abstracted on them, and you've written everything down along the way, of course, you should have some concepts ready to rock. Work off of those notes now, and you're going to create your outline. This is chapter by chapter or scene by scene. There's different ways that people kind of tackle it. And there are so many different methods. I don't have no time to go into all of them. So the best thing is to, again, Google is your friend. And there's lots of articles out there you can have a look at and check out all the different methods. Find what works best for you and just have fun with it. And once your outline is complete, you're now ready to write. Yay, celebrate that accomplishment. So do a happy dance, do whatever. whatever you like to do. So I think we have time. Jen, how are we doing on time? I actually forgot to start my timer.
You are absolutely wonderful on time. You're good.
Good.
12:33, and you have until 12:45.
Well, perfect. Awesome. Thank you. And at the end, we can, if anyone does have questions, obviously, hopefully maybe we'll have time for that. But I thought it'd be fun to do an exercise. And I can't really see the chat. I'm kind of technologically stunted, so I apologize for that. But if anyone has answers to this, I would love for you to pop them in the chat. Just throw your ideas out. Let's have fun with this. So a cloud. There's our inspiration object, a cloud. So to a human, a cloud is just a cloud. Unique collections of frozen water floating in the atmosphere. It gives us water or protection from the sun. So our task today is to find our story seeds about a cloud. Think about a cloud from a whole new perspective and pop your ideas in the chat. And maybe I'll give you a couple minutes for this. And if Jen, if anyone pops it in, can you shout them out to me?
Yes, I'm right here. I'll pop them up. I absolutely love this exercise. So I'm in love with cloud dreaming.
Perfect. Clouds are so nice. You can see so many things in clouds. Like when we're kids, I think we all did that. We sat back and we just looked at the clouds and we found objects and found all kinds of things in there.
All right, so we have Tish. A cloud is an angel peeking from heaven, saying hello and checking on their loved ones.
Oh, I love that. Oh, that's so nice.
Let's see, what other ideas do we have about clouds? Let's see, we're doing think about a cloud from a whole new perspective and pop your ideas in the chat. And Rachel, that includes you too. What's your thought? What's the generation right now on the spot?
Oh, mine are coming. I'll give it 5 more seconds, and then I'll start talking about mine. And if anyone else has more, you just keep popping them in, okay?
Clouds are different shapes and sizes like people, and they look over the world. If a cloud could talk, what would they say? Oh, I would love to have a clouds conversation. I've never even thought about that, Ruth.
That's a great one. And that's a perfect way to spur on, okay, now you can write that story about, okay, these clouds are going to talk to each other. What are they going to say? That's perfect.
I'm a huge cloud dreamer. I will sit and watch forever and always see something distinct each time. We've got a cloud drops rain, which turns into a song from heaven or a
Oh,
message from God. A
nice.
cloud is the aged milky iris in the tired gaze of a galactic giant.
Wow, I love that.
Yes,
That's
Lydia.
great.
Yes,
There's
Lydia. That's Lydia Collins.
well done, Lydia. Well done. Yeah, those are great. So yeah, and I popped some into here too in case all of a sudden no one was commenting, but just kind of like she said, Ruth said about two clouds talking. Like what if you were a bird? Think about it from a bird's perspective, or a plane's perspective, or insect's perspective. What would the clouds mean to you then? How would that change? A cloud could be a shelter for a tiny sky sprites that live in the upper atmosphere. What if you were the atmosphere itself? Not necessarily the clouds, but the atmosphere. Do the clouds stifle your freedom? What does lightning really signify? Is it a communication between sentient clouds, or maybe a fight between rival sky patrol factions? An angel routinely sneaks quick catnaps at the top of the fluffiest cloud. Tired from his work.
A cloud is a toy for his triplets, his boys, to use their imagination for different adventures. So, like, you know how kids love boxes? And
Yeah.
they would rather have the box than the toy sometimes?
Yeah.
Think about the imagination of clouds with children. And then actually asking them about it. Man, generation ideas galore, like freedom and unfiltered, right?
Yes, big time.
Ruth
Huge
said,
time.
I love when speakers involve the audience. Thank you for this. So you're getting a hug from Ruth from Alabama.
Thank you, Ruth. If we have time, I've got one more.
Oh, yes. Lydia said, I like the idea of taking a simple item and asking, how can we reinterpret this?
Yes.
Simple thing, reinterpret this.
For sure. And that's exactly it. Yeah. Put your mind in all different places and you're amazed what you're going to find.
So Ruth is screaming, yes. Exercise 2 is coming, Ruth. Here it is.
We'll do one more. And I don't want to take it. Hopefully I'll be okay here. But
you have tons of time. You are so good.
Awesome. I went through my presentation last night and I was overtime and I'm like panicking today trying to make sure I got it all in.
You did.
Okay, so exercise 2. Let's take it as another object, a car. Something simple. They're everywhere. Nothing crazy about them, right? To a human, a car is a mode of transportation enabling us to deliver goods and get from point A to point B. Perhaps it's a status symbol for some. So same task. Let's think about a car from a whole new perspective and pop your ideas, your story seeds in the chat. We'll take a couple minutes.
I'm thinking of talking cars. I'm thinking of that Cars movie when my boys were little.
Yeah. I figure a lot of people would probably go to that right away. that one's a good one. There's lots of creativity in that because you can spin it too. If you think about thinking about that movie from a different perspective, what if it was from, what if the cars weren't happy and pleasant? What if they were like in the middle of some kind of Mad Max type situation?
Okay. What if you were stuck inside the hood or the engine of the car?
Oh, that'd be scary.
What if cars decide where you go each day?
Oh, I like that.
Lauren, look at that one.
That's cool. I like that. Mm-hmm.
Nick said, my little one said a car is a robot that wants to become a human because he wants to fly. That is from the mind of his 7-year-old.
Oh, I love that. That's awesome. Kind of Transformers-esque.
Time to wake up and take my pathway back. Okay, the car's waking up.
All right. Well, I'll keep throwing them out if there's more. And these are some of the ones that I popped into my brain. So kind of that same different perspective. What do bugs, deer, or lizards think about cars? Do spiders hitch a ride? Junked cars could be bustling cities for wildlife. The grass living. Think about the perspective of the grass. They're living on the golf course, and they fear the great metal beast's treaded tires ripping up the ground. Future societies could travel back to Earth and study the cars, imagining what would have been like driving such rudimentary vehicles. This one was really fun for me. Would the car itself like its driver? Would being put to work every day like a workhorse? What if it feels old and alone, or left to waste away in some farmer's field? Or perhaps it wants revenge for being fed crappy bronze fuel all its life.
Oh my gosh, I just thought cars on strike. Like,
yes,
they had a car union.
Yes, that's awesome.
And they would go at night and meet and try to plot ways to either help their owners or cause catastrophes for their owners.
There's definitely a story in that for sure. Someone write that down.
Okay, listen to this. Okay, what if the car drives down your story's journey? We got that one. We got a car doesn't like gasoline. They prefer ice cream for fuel or coffee for fuel.
Oh my gosh, that's great.
What if the car feels pain?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Ruth said my car would live on ice cream and donuts.
And you'd sneak some every now and again too, I bet.
You would have to be able to share. Oh my goodness.
All right.
Maybe someone jumped on the hood for a ride down the road. Oh my gosh. And we're using it like a surfboard. Oh, I love that a car preferred ice cream. Oh yeah.
That's awesome. You guys came up with some great ones. I'm super impressed. Way to go. It's really good. So yeah, I guess that's kind of the bulk of what I wanted to talk about. Like I say, I'm an ideaholic. I just love thinking from all different angles and just coming up with the craziest stuff possible, because you never know what amazing things you're going to come up with. So definitely challenge yourself to do that as much as possible. I'm sure everyone does in their own way, but yeah. And so from my book that I just released, Oh, That's Good Too, I thought I'd share one of the prompts from that book with you. You can take it home, take a screenshot of it, whatever you want. And it's just something simple. A quaint and very isolated mountain town receives an otherworldly and unexpectedly smelly visitor right before a huge snowstorm hits and closes down all the roads. So you can go all kinds of different directions with that. So there's my books. I've got my children's chapter book, The Big Old Bike, Oh, That's Good, and Oh, That's Good Too. And there'll be at least 3 more books in that series coming. I am an owner also of my own press, just for my own self-published works, kind of a home for that at this point in life. We'll see where it goes in the future, called Page Turn Press. You can check out the website there, or my personal website, RachelClarkeWrites.com. All my books are on there, as well as those are my Amazon author pages and the link for Amazon for the book if anyone's interested. And yeah, I was really happy to be here and to take part in all this. So that's my information. Websites, Twitter, Instagram, all that good stuff. So I guess I should stop sharing now.
So I did drop in your Oh, That's Good Too for your the links. I put them in the chat.
Oh, thank you.
To check the prompts, because that is such a great way to help when you take a prompt and you start brainstorming around that prompt, even if it's totally not related to your book, that can just help get that block, that inspiration, that moment going for then you to go right into your own work. So I love the idea generation book. Nick said he had the boys participating. So he had the family involved. Ruth said, thank you. Lauren said, thanks. Thank you, Rachel. This was so much fun.
Yay.
Lydia is using your book for her creative writing class this year, and she cannot wait.
Yay.
Ruth said that was a cool prompt that you left them with. So now you know where to find Rachel's books. Just type in Rachael Clarke on Amazon, and she's there for you guys. And follow her on social media. Sign up for her newsletter. Stay tuned, because Rachael has those idea generations. And you know what we can find next. I will tell you guys, a long time ago, I'm so blessed to have known you, Rachael.
Aw.
I'll never look at worms on the pavement in the same way, because Rachael wrote a story about worms on the pavement. It was a little short story. And it changed my perspective about the way that I think about worms. You never know when you take just this randomness and you bring the story to life. Do you remember that one, Rachael? How long ago was that one?
It was a few years. It's called The Brightening. Yeah, it was about the perspective from a worm and how they see the sunshine and how horrible the sun is.
Like, I will never forget that experience of then going outside and like seeing worms forever. I think about Rachel's story. So I mean, really, Rachael, I've never told you that before. And I know it sounds a little weird, but it's true. Like words like that, looking at things with new perspectives gives you a fresh take on life too. And we are about to segue into Tish's channel where you guys get to practice all of this idea generation. Loved your terms. Loved how you took us through all of that.
Oh, thank you.
We were writing it down. Tish said that she's making sections now in her writer's notebook with your terms there for her.
Oh, cool.
So I do want to thank you so much for sharing your gifts with us today. And we're hopping off, and we've got Tish coming up at 1. So everybody take a break. We're ready to do a write-in again. So go to the playlist. You'll be at Tish's channel, and I'm looking forward to being with you guys for the rest of the afternoon. And thank you so much, Rachael.
Thank you, Jen. I'm so honored to be here. Thank you so much.
Yes, loved it. Loved it so much. Bye.
Bye.